Welcome to Lesson 4 in Unit 18, The Power of Water. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, how did the canyon form? In this lesson, students are introduced to an anchoring phenomenon for sections 2 and 3, and ask questions about the drawbacks of the Glen Canyon Dam. Students ask questions about the history of the Glen Canyon and make observations investigating the processes of weathering and erosion and how they relate to canyon formation. Students figure out the process of weathering breaks down rock into smaller pieces, and the process of erosion carries the pieces away, which together can contribute to the formation of a canyon over millions of years. Students make connections to the storyline by exploring how the natural processes of weathering and erosion form the canyon area. This lesson provides context for the next lesson around how building the dam and making the lake will affect these processes. There are several opportunities for ELA cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 18 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 6 days to complete. For the Engage portion, you'll introduce the anchoring phenomenon. The Glen Canyon Dam is controversial by showing a video. Students will find the anchoring phenomenon more compelling if they can connect to it personally. You can use a dam in your community for this section as well. Many dams are controversial for similar reasons. As you choose a dam, consider that it should be motivating students to explain how dams impact natural habitats, how weathering and erosion affect an area over time, and how fossil evidence is used to determine how an area has changed over time. You'll play the beginning of a podcast to hear that there is a controversy around the Glen Canyon area due to the dam. You'll ask students if they can explain controversy and if they can name any other examples. During the discussion, you can post and discuss the controversy vocabulary card. You'll play the video and podcast again and ask students why they think the Glen Canyon Dam might be controversial. Students should write any questions on Post-it notes to add to the driving question board. You'll then play some videos of the canyon area and river and ask students questions about the effect the dam may have on the river and what they think it may have been like before the dam was built. This lesson contains 2 Explore portions. For the first Explore, you'll set up the sugar cube investigation by providing each group with a clear container filled halfway with water. Be sure to see the teacher tutorial showing the setup. This lesson also has 2 Explain portions. In the first Explain of the lesson, students will engage in a class discussion about their observations and learning from the sugar cube activity. Use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, why do rocks change over time? The goal of this class discussion is to analyze student observations and identify how plants, wind, and rain cause rocks to break down into smaller pieces, which is the process of weathering. You will use the discussion to start the Lesson 4 summary chart. From the discussion, students should understand that weathering is a process that happens when things in the environment break down into smaller pieces. During the discussion, you can post and discuss the weathering vocabulary card. For the second Explore portion, you'll prepare the setup for the stream table erosion model and review the demonstration procedures and questions. The detailed procedure for this activity can be found in the teacher guide, and there is a teacher tutorial showing the setup. You'll gather the class around and carry out the erosion demonstration. You'll use the procedure and guiding questions found in the Lesson 4 Teacher Demonstration Stream Table Investigation. You'll have students use the Stream Table Investigation student journal pages to record their data and make predictions during the demonstration. In the second Explain portion of the lesson, students will engage in another class discussion about their observations and learning from the activity. Use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, what happens to the broken pieces of rock in the canyon after being weathered? The goal of this class discussion is to analyze student observations and identify how the process of erosion works to move weathered materials down the river, and how the rate of erosion can be changed. You will use the discussion to complete the Lesson 4 summary chart. By the end of the second discussion, students should understand that erosion is a process that carries away pieces of rock that have been weathered. Canyons form over time because weathering took place on the rock and erosion carried away the rock that was broken down. During the discussion, you'll pass out the article, Wind and Water Change the Earth. You'll have students partner read and answer the reflection questions. You can post and discuss the erosion vocabulary card. For the elaborate portion, you'll show videos of the canyon area. You'll have students go to the How the Canyon Forms student journal page and review it together. You'll share with students that they will be developing an initial explanation of how a canyon forms. Then, you'll have students use the How the Canyon Forms student journal page to develop their initial explanations. For the evaluate portion, when students have completed their initial models, you'll have them share their models with another student and give each other feedback using provided questions. To support student sense-making across the unit, orient them back to the driving question board. Ask, what questions did we answer about how the canyon formed? And what new questions do we have? By the end of this lesson, students will have asked questions about the Glen Canyon Dam controversy, and carried out an investigation to make observations and provide evidence about how the processes of weathering and erosion affect canyon formation. In Lesson 5, students figure out how building dams impacts the canyon environment and the habitats of living things in the area. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.